Welcome to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken. Shep will talk with some of the smartest thinkers in business to help make you more successful in your professional and personal life. This is Amazing Business Radio with Shep Hyken.
Hello, everybody. It's Shep Hyken here. We're back with another episode of Amazing Business Radio. We have a great interview today. We're going to be talking with Derek Allgood, the VP of Global Customer Experience, GCX, at eBay. And he manages the customer service arm of eBay. And he has a huge number of team members globally, assisting millions and millions of customers annually. It's an incredible operation that he has. And we're going to dive into that and learn a little bit more about what's happening and driving a great customer experience over at eBay. And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not just the customer experience, it's also the employee experience. Before we get into the interview, a quick announcement. If you've got a story that you want to share or a question that you want to ask, please reach out to me on any of the social media channels that are out there, because I am pretty much everywhere. And if it is a question, please use the hashtag #AskShep. I'll either answer it right there in the social channel, in my newsletter, the Shepherd Letter. If you want to subscribe and you're not already a subscriber, go to hyken.com, HYKEN.com, and you can get your subscription emailed to you every week, no charge at all. And I may answer the question right here on this show. But let's dive into the interview now with Derek Allgood from eBay. Derek, welcome to the show.
Hi, Shep. Thanks for having me.
Well, I am excited. We are talking to you, and you are with one of my favorite companies. I have been doing business with eBay, both as a buyer and seller for, I don't know, probably, it's been years, probably maybe a couple of decades. When did eBay start, Derek?
That's brilliant. First of all, thank you. We love you, Shep. So that's brilliant. eBay was an idea that Pierre Omidyar had probably in the early 90s, and really came into being in 1995 and changed the world of online commerce, and before there really was online commerce.
Right. I really believe that. I know it's probably been, I was going to say it's over 20 years that I've been doing business with eBay. And I know my audience can't see this, but I showed Derek the picture or the poster that I bought probably back in the late 1990s of a movie that I collect from. And that was my first eBay purchase. And so I've sold cars, I bought all kinds of things, even office equipment on eBay. Anyway, Derek, last name is Allgood. And I must say, we're going to be talking about customer service, customer experience, employee experience. And I can't think of a person's last name better suited for taking care of people. Hey, it's Allgood. And I'm sure you've heard that before.
You're very kind. I try to live up to it. The team certainly live up to it, but I just try. But it was hell growing up with that name, but it's okay now.
Well, you didn't have to grow up with the name Shep. Okay. So I went to an all-boys school, and with a name like Shep, you're going to get teased a lot. You're going to get thrown into lockers. It's not easy.
You got me.
Well, all right. Well, let's jump into this, because I know one of the things that you emphasize is you've got 7,300 teammates around the world, many of them working in support centers as well as from home. They deal with 350 million requests annually from about 45 million customers. And that's what they deal with. In addition to that, you've created this incredible technology stack that takes care of customers oftentimes before they even have to talk to an employee. And you're nodding your head yes, which means yes, you confirmed that. That is a lot. So outside of the employee interactions, how many interactions do you think might happen technologically, digitally, self-service wise?
So the number you quoted is about 10% of what's actually happening. So around 90% of the interactions that happen on our platform in terms of service would be happening in an automated way. So it's just millions and millions, hundreds of millions of service interactions that the team and our technology have in place to help buyers and sellers every day.
Wow, 10%, which means 90% is handled digitally in a self-service solution. So today we want to focus more on the employee experience than anything. And I recognize that automation and AI and any type of technology plays into the employee experience, because from my notes here, you created the experience that allows oftentimes 90% of the time a customer to take care of business on their own. When it finally does reach the employee, what are you doing to help employees provide the best experience they can?
Great question. Look, the first thing we all have to do in any sort of relationship, and we certainly look at our business as buyer and seller relationship, is listen. So we try to make sure that people have a good ear and that we're listening for the issue, and we're not just putting things into a category of things that we've heard before. So trying to understand where is the customer in the journey, what's gone wrong, and supporting our people to do that takes lots of forms. Obviously, we want to make sure that people are supported with training, but we also want to make sure that people are supported in terms of the right attitude. eBay, as you rightly said at the beginning of the show, it's a different sort of organization that people come to love. We are not the new kid on the block. We've been around and showing up for customers for many, many years. But we have a real sense of community. We have a real sense of personal service, and that's evolving, Shep. That the world is changing and expectations are changing. So we try to equip our people to keep up with that.
All right, so let's go back to the term listening for just a moment. You're training people to listen, and I understand listening to a customer and providing the right response, empathy, personalization, all of that's important. But if they're hearing something for the first time, for example, a customer calls with an issue that they haven't heard before, what's the process at that point? Are your people sharing that incident or that issue with others so that we can say, hey, is this happening elsewhere? It's something we don't typically encounter. Do you know where I'm going with that?
I do. I think I do. You can clarify if need be. We do. I mean, obviously, lots of things can come up, within a marketplace like ours, and we're dealing in such a wide variety of products, and anything you can think of, nearly you can find on eBay. So we do come across some unique situations. If we think there's something that's gone wrong technically, then obviously we try to get across that as quickly as we can, and there are means by which we report all those things quickly. We also have an active Slack community. So if even our frontline teammates are dealing with something individual, they can almost crowdsource within their peer group for help if there's something unusual that's coming up. But generally things fall within a category of just a few things that we hope we're prepared to help with.
Right. I mean, I can see one of your people, your team members saying something like, wow, I've not heard, not so much the actual, if they're calling about a specific product, that's unique maybe, but if it's a situation that is more about an experience they're having, and wow, I haven't heard that before. So obviously they have the ability to talk to teammates. Now, in a typical contact center, you can look over at the next cubicle, but so many of your people are remote and working from home, which is why you have a great communication system where it's almost instantaneous with Slack. Somebody can jump in and support somebody in real time.
That's right. That and making sure that the right information, the right answers, in terms of our technology and the content that we have is always updated to make sure that people are able to reference it. And as we move more into generative AI solutions, that information is presented in a way that's helpful and that's proactively presented, so that we can get to answers quickly for customers.
All right. What I want to do is I want to kind of jump back for a moment and talk about the culture of eBay and what you're doing to instill this positive experience for your employees. I know that building the right culture and having a strong people focus is very important to eBay. So let's chat about that for just a moment.
Sure. Look, as I said a minute ago, I think not only are customer expectations changing, and this is true across industries, but and I'll include myself in this. What we need as people who are part of large organizations is changing. The way our teammates and our colleagues are feeling about their work and what's important. All that's changed. COVID is an easy example to go back to, but I think expectations have been changing for a long, long time. And the difference between what is personal and what is professional has become blurred because many of us are working from home, or at least working from home part-time. There's a lot going on in the world that's quite stressful for a lot of people. And so I think organizations that wouldn't have leaned in a personal way before are on the hook to do that. I mean, we have to show up in a way that's meaningful, that's authentic, helping people with things in terms of their physical health, their mental health, their financial health, and being real. It's very interesting, Shep. In my estimation, the future of leadership across industries, more and more as technology advances and as things become difficult for people, stressful for people, I think we're called upon as leaders, regardless of level, to be much more human and to be much more engaged with people in a way that's not programmatic, but in a way that is person to person. And as it happens, that's exactly what we want to offer for customers. And so what we hope to do for our employees, we know that they're going to do for customers as well.
Right. So what you're basically saying is treat the people who work with you the way you want your customers treated, because that sets the tone.
Absolutely. And not, again, not in a way that is programmatized so much that it's not real. Different situations call for different sorts of responses. So you mentioned the fact that we have such a virtualized workforce now, and we do. So we had to learn through all of that as well. How do you show up in a meaningful way when you just get to meet people on a screen, when they're thousands of miles away from you? How do you create culture when it's a virtual culture? How do you create care when it's not, one person shaking the hand of another person? It's something that is virtualized. So we've learned a lot in the last 5 or 6 years. So much so that we actually have a role in GCX, which is the part of eBay that I'm responsible for. That's called human potential. There's a whole area of people who are working around not only how do we support people when they need it, how do we grow people? How do we help people develop their careers? How do we make people feel part of something greater than just an organization? And for me, my background is financial services. I'm a banker. I spent many, many years at Citibank and Barclays and Standard Chartered and all over Asia and Europe. And I'm here at eBay because I believe in the purpose of eBay. I believe in our values. And I believe it is the best form of capitalism. It is the best form of commerce. We get to connect people and assume that people are basically good.
Yeah. Well, no doubt or I say eBay has changed the way people buy and sell. And the internet has allowed us this tool. The internet has allowed us to be able to do that. And there are people that make their entire living doing nothing but buying and selling on eBay. And there are people like myself that are hobbyists that look for the things we love, whether it be a piece of art or a guitar, and buying and selling a car. Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to continue on this people conversation, because really at the end of the day, the people who are working with you are what drives that customer experience. Even if it's a technology experience, people design the technology to be used by people on the other side, as in customers. So it's all about the people. We are talking with our new best friend, Derek Allgood from eBay. This is Amazing Business Radio. We're going to take a short break. Do not go away. Shep Hyken here with an offer that won't cost you a cent. You may have heard me talk about my annual customer service and experience research. We've surveyed thousands of customers matching the U.S. Census for age, gender, ethnicity, and geography. And we find out what customers love, hate, and want in a customer experience. What's the number one customer experience that almost every customer desires? What makes them come back? What makes them leave? Why won't they fill out surveys? What do they think of AI? Well, these questions and more are answered in the research, which, by the way, is sponsored this year by RingCentral, a leader in global communications. You can download the full report by going to hyken.com and clicking on the research tab at the top. Like I said, it won't cost you a cent, but it may make you or save you thousands and thousands of dollars when you understand your customers' expectations. Again, the website is www.hyken.com.
You're listening to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken.
We're back on Amazing Business Radio. We're talking with Derek Allgood, the VP of Global Customer Experience, that's GCX, at one of my favorite companies, eBay. We were talking about the culture, and I'm amazed at how well you're able to connect people that are working remotely so well. You seem to care an awful lot about them. And as I think about the typical support center agent's experience, that it's typically companies have very high turnover. In some cases, it's over 100% of the year. They're flipping, trying to constantly find good people that will stay with them. I'm going to bet that that's the opposite of what happens at eBay.
Yes, on purpose. That's the opposite. We have tiny fraction of that, very low turnover, and we put that down to being very deliberate about how we engage with our employees, and we're employees. We have a familial sort of approach to how we do work together.
It's great. That's great. I love to hear that. I do have a huge thing I want to talk about in a moment, but as I'm looking through my notes, I want to tie back to the technology discussion we were having prior to the break. You have a conversational help bot that improves the customer experience. And I'm going to read this exactly as it is. It makes it easier for teammates to deliver, and I love this word, magical customer service. If you may have noticed, the movie poster behind me is from the Tony Curtis, Janet Leigh movie, Houdini, which is all about magic.
Very cool.
So anyway, tens of thousands of customers a week find they are able to take care of their support needs without ever having that longer conversation with an agent. So let's just jump on that and just kind of wrap a bow around the technology you're using to make that happen, to make that magical experience take place.
Thanks, Shep. Look, what we offer are multiple channels by which buyers and sellers can get information. Sometimes it's as simple as just providing quick answers. Sometimes there are more complicated issues that we need to lean in and help with. So we are always reviewing what we want to offer from a conversational help bot, from a self-service perspective, versus when do we want to make sure that anyone can speak with or chat with one of our amazing teammates that we have. So we're always reviewing those things. Some transactions and issues lend themselves better to in-person service, and others are just informational. So conversational help is also a part of what we're doing in terms of a large transformation effort that we have with our technology stack. Obviously, generative AI and some of the newer technologies that are coming out are going to inform how we do that. But what we always want to make sure of is that when you need us, we're showing up in a way that is helpful. If you look back in industries from 50, 60 years ago, emergence of the ATM in banking, everybody thought, oh, there's no need for anybody to offer service at the branch anymore. There's no need for anybody to talk to someone at a desk in a bank anymore. And of course, that's not really true. It just means that when you need information, when you need a transaction, it's available in a way that works for you.
Yep. And you mentioned you work with Barclays at one point, and they are the ones that came up with the ATM in the 1960s, I believe. And when that happened, people said, no more tellers. Okay. But every bank that I go to that has an ATM in the lobby or right in front of the front doors that people can use 24/7, you walk inside during normal business hours, they're tellers.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I guess that's a good analogy or a good comparison.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's about how do we continually reduce friction points for customers, regardless what channel they would like to use.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. Let's jump to something I know is really important to you, and that is a concept you referred to. It's 3 words: purpose beyond commerce. And this is really important to eBay and obviously important to you as well.
It is. I mentioned to you, the reason I'm here is I believe in what eBay is, and I believe in what eBay is in the world. You have to be really good at what you do. And obviously, we want to run a good business that investors want to be a part of. there's a lot beyond that. eBay as a concept is based on an assumption about the good in people and how to bring buyers and sellers together all over the world. So that's part of our purpose. And that also takes form in terms of how we show up in our communities. And I'm really, really happy to be part of the eBay Foundation. That's a massive charitable arm of our organization as well. And that's where we show up in the world for causes that we believe in and supporting people who need it, in their time of need. In addition, we hope to being the best online marketplace in the world.
Well, as a customer, I will attest to the fact that you're easy to do business with. You are an amazing, perhaps for me, the best online marketplace in the world. And I love that you have purpose beyond commerce and that you want to do good for the rest of the world. All right, as we wrap up here, my final question, typically to all guests, is that one thing question. And is there something that is happening at eBay that you think would be really interesting for everybody listening to know about and maybe even help them in their business?
Sure. There are loads of things happening in terms of how we're looking to improve everyone's buying and selling experience with eBay. But I think the important thing to keep in mind, what I would share is we're thinking about the future. We were a pioneer in this industry, and we want to be a pioneer of the future. And so we are already thinking about how to make commerce work as technology evolves. And that's taking many forms in terms of how we're looking at making listings work, using virtualized technology to do simple listings. It has to do with how we're thinking about supporting our teammates for service. But we are futurists, and we're looking to continue to build and continue to refine the eBay of the future. And we want to continue to be that marketplace that when you're looking for something, whether it's an everyday item or whether it's a really unique item that you're going to find nowhere else, you find it here on eBay. And one of the things in terms of thinking about the future, Shep, and you get to talk to all kinds of interesting people in this space, is that what is unique and what is artistic and what can't be found anywhere else is going to become more and more important as technology continues to automate everything in our lives. So eBay is a platform where you can find it all. And so a lot of the work that we're doing this year and next year is around creating great experiences and making it easy to find just what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think the perfect title for this episode, and perhaps an article I write in the future, is The Secret to eBay's Phenomenal Customer Experience is the employees who are the teammates that are just doing an amazing job, all of them, thousands throughout the world, handling millions of interactions. And that's what sets you up for the confidence the customer has to keep coming back to do business with you again and again.
Thanks, Shep. We look. I don't want to patronize anybody by saying I'm really proud of them, but I'll say I admire the people at the front line and all of our leaders that we get to work with, and they're chosen. They're chosen for a purpose, and that purpose is to show up and help people like you and others who believe in eBay. And so we take that very seriously, and we try to do our best.
Well, thank you. I love the episode. Thank you, Derek, for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please come back next week. I promise you another amazing interview. And until that time, this is Shep Hyken reminding you to always be amazing.